Hi, I'm Pam and I'm here to talk about retro video games. You know what NES games need more of? Dogs. And not the jerks who laugh at you when you fail. The helpful, loyal kind. The ones who are always by your side. Man's best friend. Today, I'm talking about a game with a great dog. It's Conquest of the Crystal Palace. Conquest of the Crystal Palace was developed by Quest and released for NES in 1990. You play a boy named Farron, who finds out that he is the prince of the Kingdom of the Crystal Palace, which had been taken over by the evil Xeris when he was just a baby. You're told this by your faithful dog, Zap, who is actually a keeper of the palace, and starts you on a quest to take your kingdom back. When you first start up the game, you're given the choice between 3 crystals to improve one of your attributes, either your life meter, attack ability, or jump height. I took the jump height, but the choice here doesn't matter for long as you'll get the chance to obtain the other power-ups as you play. Crystal Palace plays like a typical platformer, with a few twists to make it more interesting. Your main weapon is a sword, but as you play, you can either find or buy other new attacks, such as the ability to throw fireballs or shoot wave beams. As you defeat enemies, they'll drop various items. Usually it will be money to spend in the game's shop, but occasionally you'll get items to restore health, weapon upgrades and special powers, or armor that lets you avoid taking damage the next time you get hit. There are 2 things that really differentiate this game from all the other platformers out there. The first is your dog, Zap. By holding down and pressing A, you can call Zap to assist you. He pretty much does his own thing, jumping around and attacking anything hostile on screen. He can be extremely helpful in taking out hard-to-reach enemies or when you're feeling overwhelmed. Zap is a special ability which you can trigger by pressing up on the D-pad if you have the dog whistle item. This will make him extra aggressive and spin around you, taking out anything that's putting you in danger. Zap has his own health bar and you don't want to let it run out or he'll disappear. He'll also compete with you for any health drops. If he's closer to it when it falls on the ground, he's eating it. This is a very familiar scenario. You can get Zap to go away the same way you called him. The second coolest thing is the in-game shop run by Kim. You'll have a chance to visit her multiple times in each level. The shop interface is very unique, letting you scroll through the items available and getting a short description of each. There are also newscasts that you can watch, which will give you information about the zone you're in. Though the information isn't always all that useful. In the fire stage, the news told me that I needed a Fuego weapon in order to defeat the final boss, and that didn't end up being true. But still, the news is a cool addition that adds some extra story and gives you a little break. Kim will show you how each new weapon option works and likes it when you spend money, but don't waste her time if you can't afford the wares. In addition to weapons, you can also buy healing for both yourself and Zap, and increase your lives, maximum health, or jumping power. Item costs will go up throughout the game. Something that starts out at $1,500 can easily cost triple that when you get further on, so it's not always possible to plan your purchases. There are a few places where you can farm money from enemies constantly dropping from the sky, and these spots really come in handy. In terms of difficulty, Conquest of the Crystal Palace is tough, but fair. Mostly. Given the size of your life bar, you can take a number of hits before dying, and use Kim's shop to top up your health when it gets low. Some enemy attacks are hard to avoid, but most don't hit too hard. Of course, there are a few spots you need to memorize in order to avoid getting knocked back into a pit, which is an instant death. A few of these parts were kind of frustrating, but I've never been a fan of knockbacks. You get 3 lives, but there are unlimited continues, which is something I always appreciate. You start back at the beginning of the stage, but you do get to keep your gold so you can buy upgrades quickly. For the most part, the controls are decent. Your character is easy to move, and there's a lot of variability in your jump depending on how you tap the button or if you swing your sword. This comes in handy especially on levels where the ceiling does damage to you and you need to make your jumps as low as possible. There was a good balance in the stages of danger coming from both enemies and the environment. There's a lot of timing involved in getting past obstacles, like waterfalls or riding moving platforms while enemies jump at you from below or off-screen. My one complaint about the controls is that holding down and pressing A to either call Zap or switch from your sword to your magic attack is a little cumbersome, especially if you're in the middle of a fight. Meanwhile, the select button doesn't seem to be used for anything and could have been a better option for this. Conquest of the Crystal Palace has only 5 stages, but most of them are quite long and they're all unique. I really like Stage 1's mountain climb and seeing it turn from day to night as you progress. Stage 2's Realm of the Guardian is probably the best looking one. It's an ornate palace with cracking columns and clouds floating by in the background whenever you pass a window. If you fall into a pit in this level, you just go back a bit rather than losing a life, and if you drop into a specific pit, you'll be given a very powerful spell. Lair of the Hungry Ghosts is kinda creepy, with its walls made of creatures screaming in pain and spikes lining the ceiling. It's also just a really good name for a level. The Gateway of Flame is the shortest stage, but also one of the most dangerous, with lava constantly threatening you from both above and below. And the final stage is the Crystal Palace itself. It looks similar to Stage 2, but its more muted and gray color palette gives it a completely different feel, and it's also a bit of a maze with multiple levels and lots of staircases. The bosses in the game are a bit of a mixed bag. Stages 2 and 5 have giant, ornate-looking bosses that are very impressive to look at and challenging to fight. But then there's the Stage 4 boss, which is just this little ball thing. The environment is really what's providing the challenge here. When you finally get to Xeris, he's honestly a little silly looking, and if you stand as close to him as possible and time your jumps, he's not all that much of a threat. I do think this is a very good looking game. The colors are nice and the sprites for Farron, Kim, and Zap are all really adorable. It also has a very attractive interface. I really like the design of your status bar at the bottom of the screen, and Kim's shop looks like something that could have come from a game in the next generation of consoles. Music is similarly very good throughout. The Stage 1 and shop themes are so energetic and catchy. Stage 3's music is appropriately creepy, and Stage 4 might just be my favorite. It's dramatic and also pretty rockin'. Music was composed by Masaharu Iwata, who would go on to compose a number of notable game soundtracks like Final Fantasy Tactics and Shadow Hearts. Conquest of the Crystal Palace looks great, sounds great, and is a lot of fun to play. Plus, it has a very good dog who wears a sharp-looking suit of armor. What more could you ask for? If this is one you haven't tried yet, I definitely recommend giving it a play. If you want to see more, check out my review of Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu, or another of my videos. I have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.